let's get into Netanyahu and Trump on the stage together. This is open up a can of worms. We're going to show you guys, if you haven't seen it yet, apparently Netanyahu and Trump both want Gaza. They're very vocal about it. Let's see the moment that they're revealing to the reporters, and I will take it from there and the pushback and fallback from that and how we pick up the pieces here. But everybody's scrambling on all sides right now after watching this happen. And one of the reporters kind of pushes back a little, which is very interesting. So check this out if you guys missed this the other day.
You are talking tonight about the United States taking over a sovereign territory. What authority would allow you to do that? Are you talking about a permanent occupation there, redevelopment? And Mr. Prime Minister, do you see this idea as a way to expand the boundaries of Israel and to have a longer peace, even though the Israeli people know how important that land is to you and your citizens, just as the space is inherited by the Palestinians as well?
I do see a long-term ownership position, and I see it bringing great stability to that part of the Middle East and maybe the entire Middle East. And everybody I've spoken to, this was not a decision made lightly. Everybody I've spoken to loves the idea of the United States owning that piece of land, developing and creating thousands of jobs with something that will be magnificent in a really magnificent area that nobody would know. Nobody can look because all they see is death and destruction and rubble and demolished buildings falling all over. It's just a terrible sight. I've studied it. I've studied this very closely over a lot of months, and I've seen it from every different angle. And it's a very, very dangerous place to be. And it's only going to get worse. And I think this is an idea that's gotten tremendous, and I'm talking about from the highest level of leadership, gotten tremendous praise. And if the United States can help to bring stability and peace in the Middle East, we'll do that. Bibi?
Man. I mean, what a reveal moment there. And I've been seeing everybody's different takes on this. First of all, I'll just throw this out before we go down. I know you shared some stuff here, Craig. We're going to get to that in a second, but I just want to say, throwing out from the vantage point of noticing all of these Democrats that have stayed silent for the last 15, 16 months while we've been in the street, we've been championing for the people of Palestine. We've been anti-war. We've been anti-occupation. We've been about ending the Israel reign in the Middle East and cutting off funding 100%. We've been doing that the whole time, and they haven't said shit. They have been crickets. And now they're like, what is Trump doing? And they're so upset. This is on the Democratic side. First time I'm ever seeing so many of them here in LA, here in Hollywood. All of a sudden, they're like, what is he trying to do? What kind of land grab is this? This is the worst. What a horrible. So, but you weren't anywhere to be found when we were in the streets. We were here at UCLA fighting for the people they're getting beat up by the police here, by the LAPD. We were in the streets of Chicago while the protesters were challenging the DNC. You guys were inside the building cheering and yipping and hollering for the first minority woman president. And now they're doing that. I know this is the part you don't like to focus on so much, Craig, because who cares about them? They're just captured. But I just want to say it is an exposing moment on a lot of levels. And that's the one I wanted to start with, because it shows that the people on the left that still consider themselves part of the Democratic Party have had no principle and moral compass the whole time. And now they're pretending to have it because it's Trump up there saying the quiet part out loud.
Yeah. Number one, I know you still live in LA, and you got this kind of element of people out there that are still buying the sandwich that's been sold into them, and it's a shit sandwich. They just repackaged it on different bread. I'm not going to spend a lot of time owning the left because they're not in power, and it doesn't surprise me what they're doing. And I'm sorry. I mean, I've spent so long of pushing back against the Democratic Party because I was once trying to be part of the reformation of the Democratic Party, which was a pipe dream. And we found that out the hard way, a lot of wasted time and whatnot. So, I mean, I don't know. I think that a lot more people see it, that they're just noise again. They're not. I don't think a lot more people are not playing into the two-party duopoly as much. They're just opting out and saying none of these assholes represent me. So I think we have to spend a lot of time making sure that the homeless person is represented right there. And unfortunately for the Democratic Party, they just don't have the oomph they used to have. Right? They're still using the mainstream media to, try to take. They got a big microphone, right? They own the mainstream media on the left, and they're trying to use it as best they can, but their numbers are falling, their support is falling, and like I said, I think that a lot of time, if you're criticizing one side without criticizing the other, aren't you just doing exactly what they planned for us? So that's what I like about this show, is the fact that we criticize both sides. But at this point in time right now, I don't even see it worth it for us to use our energy to criticize these people, because it's just laughable. It's laughable what they're saying. Nobody believes them. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to let them continue to bury themselves.
All right. Well, do you want me to bring up anti-war?
Well, let's talk about that statement though first of a second. When Donald Trump said that, he goes, "It's a disaster zone." We wouldn't, because so it's Donald Trump that's presenting this. I get it. The Democrats have been absent. That's why a lot of people, even if it was a fair election, wouldn't show up at the polls. We've said it before. I've got yelled at on WBAI on a night show during election night. Well, what point is it? Why is it better to have Donald Trump as our president? How's that a better move? I said, I don't think it was. I said, I don't want Donald Trump to win, but I want the Democrats to lose. They have to be accountable for us overseeing the genocide. We got it there. But now this is the next part of it, of what it is. It ain't a different point of view. It ain't an oppositional point of view. It's the cleanup. The baton has been passed from the Joe Biden administration and the Democrats to Donald Trump, and now he has it in his hands. And now he's trying to take this. I mean, look at the things he said. First of all, he said it's a disaster zone. Yeah, the asshole, Mr. President, who made it a disaster zone is standing up right there next to you. I mean, how much freaking pie do you need in the face, ladies and gentlemen, for him to say a comment like that? And you should be saying out loud at your TV screen or your computer screen, "Oh, no. Stop right there, Mr. President. Are you kidding me?" That's the guy who made it a hell zone. But then not to call bullshit even further, as this is the apparatus that's supposedly making the rules now, the laws. We're going to present these plans, right, and these policies. It's the Donald Trump administration. For him to throw in these key words for you to, once again, they're fishing, Matt, for the confirmation bias. It's going to create jobs, Matt. We're going to have jobs in the Gaza Strip. We're going to send people over there. They're going to make a lot of money. We're going to be winning, Matt. It's a win-win for everybody. And you know what we'll do? We'll relocate these people. And we'll put them in different spots, and we won't even have to pay for it. I'm such a good politician. I'll get these other countries to pay for it. We've showed it before on this show that the Republicans, from his Truth Social polls he took, his own people know the bullshit of Israel. Well, where are you at right now? Now, that's who we need. We need those voices to stand up the way the Jewish community stood up for the Palestinians, right? We need that other side right now, the pro-Trump people, to say enough is enough. This is disgusting.
Yeah. I mean, anybody in that room just okay with the fact that this psychopath, warmongering, crimes against humanity criminal is standing right there. And like you said, Craig, he's the guy that's responsible. And the previous administration and every administration has been footing the bill for this. Trump is coming out and saying, "Oh, well, we gotta get right in there and finish this job and clean up the thing that you did." And nobody in that press room has any sort of concern about, wait, isn't that the dude? So they're not doing that. We know it's all a scam. It's all one big theater piece. A part that concerns me, Craig, also is that the Trump supporters are still going with this 6D chess. They're still doing it. I'm seeing these takes. These are quite stretches. They're the stretch of the imagination. But I'm hearing this. It's and I'm not saying it's worth even considering, but we have to tell our viewers what the mindset is right now. They see him up there, and this I'm hearing this on Twitter. I'm seeing like Ariel saying this, and a few others are saying there's a power play. Look at Netanyahu's face. He's squirming. No one's ever stood up there before and said, a U.S. president, and said, "We're taking this. We're putting our flag, America flag, on this." And there's Netanyahu going, "Wait a minute. This is Israel. What are you doing? What are you doing?" coming up here and taking my thunder. And Trump's like a guy that's like, hey, we write the check, motherfucker. We get to put up Trump Tower. That's how we do shit. And so there's people saying Netanyahu's never really been talked about like that ever. Like, we've never done that. We never said time to put up an Obama tower or or whatever, a Clinton tower, right? We've never really seen that. So that part is a little different, but we're not going to buy that argument because we got the business as usual is actually what's happening. I just thought it's important to point out that that's the thing. That's the thing people are holding on to. That checked the box for Trump. They voted for this guy. They have to believe he's got to be doing some. Maybe they're up to 7D or 8D chess by now. That's got to be some advanced move we just don't fully understand yet. What do you say to the people that are still holding on to that?
Same people who said they were putting that Donald Trump was putting Netanyahu on a leash, right? And he's should win the Nobel Peace Prize, Donald Trump, right? And then when you ask him why would you, well, Barack Obama won. I'm like, I didn't support Barack Obama winning it, and you think this is a Peace Prize moment? The ceasefire when they never ceased to fire. And by the way, they've been killing people since the ceasefire. Those prisoners they let go, they started rounding up more new prisoners to replace them in the West Bank. Pegasus and the spyware, the Israeli spywares that even the Biden government shut down. The Biden government directed their FBI not to use the American version of Pegasus, and they put it in a warehouse. That's been opened up and unlocked. The Fourth Amendment rights are being pissed all over. This is really, and we've heard the argument before, 4D, 5D chess. No, the 5D chess they're playing, and they're really not. They're playing checkers because you're a sucker and you go along with it. I endorse that move. That's what's being played right here. There is no 4D chess. This is a colonization project. Every single member of our Congress, other than Thomas Massey, right, has an Israeli person assigned to them, an AIPAC person assigned to them. And they're working at the behest of the Zionist right now. They're calling the shots. The pushing in the chair is nauseous. And even to suggest the fact that these people should leave their homeland. Oh, it's a disaster zone to act like they're. I'm surprised you didn't bring that one tweet up, Matt, where somebody says Donald Trump is saving the children. Oh my God, I'm so emotional. Are you freaking kidding me? He set the table for all those children to be slaughtered. And they just, it's one team working as one. It's a two-party illusion where they just hand off the baton from one group to the next. It's just, and like I said, to finish the job, he released even the weapons that Biden wouldn't send, the big 2,000-pound bombs. Donald Trump's been known to do that stuff, right? Kiev got this weaponry they couldn't get before. Now Israel gets this weaponry they couldn't get before. Israeli spyware is legal again. Our Fourth Amendment rights are gone. Jared Kushner wants to get in there and get those beachfront properties. This is disgusting, and it should be called for what it is. And anybody who still thinks just because Ross Ulbricht got let go or the USAID or the NED is now closed down, if you think that is enough reason, and hearing people like Dave Smith and Angela McArdle, who's leaving as chair of the Libertarian Party, take any type of victory lap when you condone this over here, this uber Zionism at a high level. I'm sorry. You don't need to take a victory lap. You need to sit back down. This is some very scary stuff. This should be enough is enough. And like I said, we did on our show on the Truth Social post on polls he took, his own people, because, those are all patriots that go and use that site. They know what's going on. Well, we need you to speak up and call it out because this is bad. This is real bad. This is ethnic cleansing. There's a video going around. I'd love to play it right now. It's a clip of these two senators back in the 1800s offering the Indian this land and whatnot, right? And he keeps, whose land is it? Well, it's the government's, and it's like the questions of ethnic cleansing, and it's just this amazing scene. I should find it. I was going to even talk about all right, everything we're seeing with USAID and the NED is played out. It's performative. Did you ever see the movie Gangs of New York?
Yes.
Remember, one of my favorite scenes is when the mayor comes to the butcher and goes, "Hey, man, we've been getting a lot of complaints about thievery and criminals running around the 4 Points. We need to do something." And the butcher goes, "Well, what do you suggest?" He goes, "I think we should have a public hanging. Catch 3 or 4 good criminals and hang them." He goes, "How many do you want?" Exactly, because he was telling the mayor, just put it out there. 4. Let's take 4 people. And they have this staged hanging, where the people of the 4 points, by the hands of the mayor, are saying, look what we did. We just got rid of crime over here. We've hung 4 people to teach people a lesson. And it was all staged. It was all staged. This is what they're doing. Why would you be surprised that they want you to think that they're really changing their ways? They're not. They're just moving to a different vessel. They do it all the time.
Yeah. You can't argue that, Craig. Do we want to look at some of this? Aaron Mate's take on this?
Yeah, because I think this is another argument out there. And once again, the power of social media is very important, right? We didn't bring up Ian Carroll and Mike Benz because we're jealous of them. We're bringing them up because what they're doing, right? The narrative management, the gatekeepers, is as the colonel called them. They're gatekeepers. They're meant to bring you. I mean, nobody did it better than Steve Bannon during COVID. I mean, then he turned into everything that's done bad is China's fault. Like he rounded up so many of those people from the medical freedom movement into the anti-China movement. I love Naomi Wolf. I love what she's done, but she was kind of walking very tightrope with that whole China's trying to do this, China's trying to do that.
Yeah.
There's a group of people in the election industrial complex who were trying to make you believe that China, I've shared a stage with Patrick Burns, and his China theory is just so completely bonkers. But that's what they do. They win you over in some confidence and they bring you another way. So yeah, let's go over a little bit of this. This is interesting stuff.
Yeah.
It's the way people are talking now online, right? So he says Netanyahu, who destroyed Gaza, sits smug satisfaction at Trump's vision of ethnic cleansing. Palestinians have the right to return to their stolen homes inside what is now Israel. If the U.S. won't let them come back, then withdraw all Israeli settlers from their illegal colonies, in the West Bank, and let the displaced Palestinians live there while their Gaza homes are rebuilt. In other words, he's saying the way it's being sold, it's disgracing there. We're going to make it beautiful again. We're going to make Gaza winning beautiful, right? Now, the interaction I want to show you is with Robert Barnes.
Okay.
Go ahead and slide down.
Is it on the same one?
It should, because
here we go. Okay.
All right. So he goes, all right, why would they have now this is the argument you are getting from a bunch of people from the populist right? The people who support Donald Trump, Elon Musk, Jack Posobiec, Bannon, I'm saying they might differ in between those ways, but they are very supportive. Viva Frei works with Robert Barnes. They are very supportive, Robert Barnes is, of the populist right and Donald Trump's views. Why would they have the right to return, in air quotes, right, to homes they lost in a war they initiated?
Oh.
Where is the right based on? Name a country that ever enforces such a right. Well, number one, he's selling a warmonger's mindset about, well, there are wars. There's been wars. We had to get rid of the Indians. We're here, Matt. It happens. And when it does happen, I'm saying laws, lines are good, borders are going to be redrawn, and you have to abide by it. And he put that one word, they initiated it, the 2 words.
Mm-hmm.
It could have been lost in a war, but he put they initiated. So Aaron Mate fires back. They didn't initiate the war. The best work on this has been by Israeli historians like Benny Morris, with access to Israeli archives, which show that the Zionist militias deliberately ethnically cleansed Palestinians in 1948 and 1947. By the time Arab armies intervened, hundreds of thousands had already been expelled. Morris' critique is that the ethnic cleansing didn't go far enough. Even if Palestine leaders somehow started the war, what right does Israel have to steal their homes of Palestinian civilians, right? Yeah. And the simple argument, too, as well, is that, as Robert Barnes has been Hamas, Viva Frei has repeated that Hamas.
Yeah.
You guys work together. Hamas was created in the late 80s, right?
I know. Yeah.
This happened in 1947, 1948. It's a moot argument. But Robert Barnes, once again, selling that, hey, the lines are redrawn in a war, Matt. And he even goes as far to say they started it, so now Israel had the right to finish it. Is there anything else? I think he's got one more comment.
He comes back again. Oh, okay. All right, let's see.
All right. Yeah. Assuming that is so, what creates the right of return? And now he even makes this more. He tries to bring in this other argument. Does the right exist independent of the Israeli conflict? Do American tribes have the right to take back all of America? Right? That argument here. Do Jews have the right to return to all Muslim countries that expelled them? Once again, that's another manufacturing consent, a reason to say that what Israel has done is justified. They've been expelled, and here they are fighting back because they are hated simply because they are Jews, and that's why Muslims hate them. That's the argument they're selling. Do all those who lost land from the conflict have a right to return to their lost land? Where exactly does this right to return start, and when does it end? And that's a common argument out there right now. You know what I'm saying? Well, when do we go back? Because really, to tell you the truth, Matt, it was the Jews who were in that land during Pontius Pilate in the Roman time, right? That right of return, they'll argue that point. But at the end of the day, I think there's a lot of us in the middle who don't want to have either side of this argument, right? Not to say that obviously I kind of feel a lot more, I align a lot more with Aaron Mate in this particular position. I really do. But there's a lot of people out there who are saying, listen, I don't care about all your juggernaut. We just don't want you killing women and children, bombing them to death with American tax dollars, right? End of story. Let's work this out somehow. We don't want to hear your right to return. We don't want to hear your right to exist. We don't want to hear your arguments on both sides. Just stop bombing children indiscriminately.
Yeah.
Stop killing children right now, today. We're not going to even give you the opportunity to. We're cutting off all funding. Well, we can't cut off the funding. Otherwise, they won't have the right to defend themselves. Dropping major big bombs in Gaza is not, defending yourself. Sorry, Piers Morgan. NATO is not a defensive mechanism, right? And when he got called on that talk about Kosovo, talk about Belgrade. Well, Robert Barnes is making the same actions. He is justifying empire, saying that empires is okay. Not let alone it's a lie. They didn't initiate this war. You know what I'm saying? It's ridiculous to even make this statement. So that's that. I don't know if Aaron Mate had one more statement there, but I think this is a great case study to look at, this argument right here, Matt, because this is an argument you'll hear from a lot of people. And these are questions that should be answered, right? And a lot of people will stick to that. Well, we're living on Andean land. We're still stolen property. Somebody will make the argument, George Carlin style, there's no such thing as a person who is a native, right? Indigenous. Yeah. Everybody came from somewhere else. It was the great ice bridge that led a lot of the Native Americans to come into this country, right? And come into this region, come into the Americas years and years ago. They were from somewhere else. They'll make that argument all the time. And that will kind of then they'll default to, well, boundaries change in wars. So we have to just kind of live with it, right? Can't go backwards, Matt. It happened. But that's the problem. We're witnessing this in real time, and the blood is on our hands. And yes, I mean myself, because I'm living behind the gun of the government that's providing that weaponry that's killing those kids out there.
Look, if the best argument I can add to that, the technology argument, right? Because we talk about the world is advancing, the globalists, they have a plan for how to use technology against us, the digital ID, all this stuff, AI taking over everything. We understand how all this goes. Why don't we take the good part about technology and say we can share this stuff? No genocide has ever been televised in real time on the palm of our hands before. That's your proof. That's your evidence. That's your tool to separate this from. And you can mention anything else from the past and say, oh, well, what about this? What about that? Well, this is the one that we're funding in real time. We can see it. We've been watching it for the last 16 months. We have the paper trail back to 1948. There's no way around it. If you're on the other side of this, if you're still trying to say Hamas did this out of nowhere, blank check to Netanyahu, RFK Jr. style, if you're still doing that, you're on the wrong side of history. And if you're in that press room with Netanyahu and Trump, and you act as if that those two guys up there are trying to do what's best for the people because it's just a disaster zone. Oh, what are we going to do? If you don't understand that they are the enemy, you're on the wrong side of history. And we need to open that press room. I hope we can get in there at some point. I don't know the chances of that. I know we're waiting on some call back on that one, but this is the world we're in. Are you on Aaron Mate's side? Are you on Barnes' side? I'm 100% on Aaron Mate's side on this one.
Well, I like I said, I think there could be another middle ground there that we have to. I think that's where a lot of people who are homeless, right, who haven't heard about the history, don't know a lot about the history, should probably educate themselves on what's gone on there, how it's happened. I mean, you can go. There's even a covert. There's the overt and the covert. Even the overt doesn't sell. Even what they tell you in what they put on the history books and the records is just like, well, that's not right. They don't have the right to expel Palestinians from their lands. Yeah, but they were coming back. They're actually having a right of return. Hey, property rights, they've been established. No, sorry. And you don't do it like that. And you're ground up all these people and throw them in a open air prison called Gaza. I mean, that's just ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah.
And at the time, there was a bunch of, I think, Jewish people that were living in at Gaza at one point in the very beginning, right? I'm not sure. I should probably get a little bit more educated on that. But then I think at one point they all said, "I'm out," and left.
Well, no, there is. There was, everybody was living, from what I've looked at, the paper trails, that you had Palestine existed in biblical times, and for some reason the Bibles got switched out sometime around the early 1900s and pretended that there was no map in the Bible. The Bibles actually had the map of Palestine, and in Palestine you had everybody living equal. You had Jews, you had Muslims, you had Christians, everybody there, and it was fine. And it was not the idea that there's this promised land, this right to return to something that was always Palestine. It got swapped out, and now people don't understand that had always been Palestine. That's the point. That's the part that people are starting to understand now. And the more we look down this stuff, the more we see the information that has been silenced. The education system was hijacked, Craig. The education system that taught us about history and world history and global policies and where everything came from, that got captured. How we learned about World War II, how we learned about Nazism, how we learned about, all of a sudden, there's a guy, Germany all of a sudden for a very brief period of time decided to be evil. They weren't evil before that. They weren't evil after that. They just woke up one day. It's that woke up one day adage, Craig. I can't stand this shit. And I think that the younger generation has had enough of this stuff. We're not going to take a simplified education. We're going to look at context. We're going to look at systems and the way they function. And this idea, if you want to promote this idea of never again, and you're going to deliberately leave out what led up to the thing, what got Hitler the idea. Did he wake up one morning and say, I'm going to kill a bunch of people? And is that what happened? Really? Did Putin wake up on February of 2022 and said, I just decided to be evil today. I'm going to take over the world. If you think that's how history works, it doesn't. So this is the theme of today's show. We have to do our own research. We have to be curious. We have to want to do better. We have to want to know more. So we will continue our information quest here on this show. And I hope you guys all out there do as well, because the more information we have, the more power we have. Information is power, and we have access to it. We have our cell phones, guys. This is the thing they're trying to use against us. We can use it for our benefit as well. We can document genocides when they happen. We can look at paper trails. We can see who's funding what. We can screenshot stuff before they take it off the internet. We have the ability to do this, guys. And so we want to do it more, do it better, get smarter, get stronger. That's what we're doing here.